Welcome to Studio Remote, the Rose Hall Project. Now, hypothetically, I am audible. Jeremiah says I am audible. And captions are working. And Alex, I can hear you even though you're not speaking right now. So this was yet another change that didn't populate because
We don't test before going live?
no, we do test. The problem is we don't so first off, everything from the visual view of what I see here shows that I'm audible on the stream, right? The reason why Jeremiah couldn't hear me on actual Twitch is because even though the audio mixer shows the little meter going up and down with my voice, the system, because of whatever stupid thing I did 2 months ago when like all this complicated stuff, yada, 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 wasn't sending any tracks out to the stream. It was just like this. And I had to turn those tracks back on. So the sort of the problem with this is how do you test whether a stream is going to work without actually starting up the stream? And then if you're starting up the stream, everyone's going to think you're online because it'll blow up and be like, hey, everybody, like, and then people are going to sign on just to hear your sound check or whatever. You know what I mean? So what I was doing in January was I would just start streams, short little streams from my personal account, not from the Studio Remote account, and test there. And eventually everything got working right. But then I had to keep futzing with it, keep changing it, little things, keep blah, blah, blah. And as a result, broke everything one more time. So the concrete difference is now I'm running through a different audio interface than I was running through last time, because for the last couple of times I've been using this mic with a different audio interface that gets in the way on my desk. My other audio interface is velcroed to the bottom of the desk, so it doesn't get in the way. So I wanted to use that audio interface. And it worked, I hope, on Tuesday with Coding with the Dead. But I haven't listened to the recording yet, and it's not like people were in there chatting saying they can't hear me. Anyway, so technical problems are cleaned up. It only took 15 minutes. I'm Moacir P. Desapereira, the research data librarian and extremely frustrated technical supervisor for Studio Remote, the Rose Hall Project, brought to you by Columbia University Libraries. And you are?
Alex here, and I'm scared, and I'm calling my mommy because you mad.
I'm not mad. I'm just, I don't know, tired or something.
All right.
So
let's get going, guys.
You're all like, well, my show is going to be great and it's not going to have any of these problems and blah blah blah. So tell me about your show. Why is your show going to be?
I said that my show is going to get around some of these problems because it's going to try to. Well, the way that I'm going to break it down, the show first of all is about advanced research, right? Advanced methods, techniques for research. That's what the subject matter is going to be, and it's going to be a different thing every week. I'm not even sure I'm going to do it weekly. Every show is going to be a different thing. It's going to be like one show on using advanced Google operators. One show would be on how to find data sets, or like interviewing people who have found lost manuscripts, this kind of stuff. It's just topics in advanced research techniques. Not research theory or subjects, but research techniques. And anyway, so the setup is going to be slightly different because I'm planning to pre-record at least the first 15 or 20 minutes of it as a polished thing of every show. as a polished little thing. I think I'm gonna have a little help from an intern. And then the idea is that, various lengths depending on what the episode is. And then the idea is that we come live on a Zoom call after I release that video, and then record that, but don't stream it live. So the idea, and then the idea is that I would then have a time to post processes. So a little bit more time commitment than this one, but it's a slightly different model, because this one is, we wanted to capture what it looks like to work on something live. Mm-hmm. That one is gonna be like exploring a theme as if it was like a documentary series, or or a series of workshops with something in common. That one way to think about it. I think about it as a variety show, but it's gonna combine live with pre-recorded, and hopefully I won't have that many channels. I will try to encourage us to since I'm gonna be like, the important thing will be the sound for after it gets published. I'm gonna ask people who participate to record on their voice memos on their phones, so that the soundtrack file is actually separate from what we do, and then I'll just put that together with Adobe Premiere, because that will for sure take care of the sound, just to record the sound separately.
Great,
and
great
it's also
job.
better quality.
Great
like
job
by far.
Setting us up to get sued by Adobe, by the way.
Why? Because I just said the word Adobe.
Well, you said Adobe Premiere.
Oh, it's not Premiere. What is it called? Adobe what?
No, it is called Premiere, but like Case Act.
Oh, right. But no, you can use it. I have a license to use the tool. I can use the tool to produce.
It's not about the tool. It's about the fact that you're.
I just said the words.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it may be copyright infringement, and like
guys are
Adobe
silly. Everybody's so silly about this.
Up to $30,000 in damages.
You can name things. You can still use the name of songs and the name of books. That is not even.
You sang on the deleted part of the episode that you will not be seeing, because I will not be saving it or posting it to YouTube. Alex sang "Happy Birthday to You," which I think is, the copyright claims have been vacated or whatever. Then now he has his Hershey's Kisses cup.
I'm getting a little kickback. I hope my employer doesn't investigate the Hershey's companies.
It's not about kickbacks. It's about copyright infringement. That's the problem.
It is a cup that I own for drinking coffee, people.
So we have the copyright infringement of where we got the lion from, the logo for a studio remote.
Did we?
Well, let me put it this way. Actually, I think the precise citation is given on the studio website. It's from a book from the 18th century.
I think we're good.
But it's from a scan of a book from the 18th century.
Did you scan it?
Nope.
We might have to take that down.
I would claim that this is transformative work, because I cleaned it up, I vectorized it per your request. I made it look like it has extra hair on the side.
Yeah, I did request that. It just makes it look more round. It's fair use. It's fine. Listen. Yeah, I don't think
it's just like R.I.P. the whole like, we got a copyright strike.
You confess to a crime live on TV.
I didn't confess to a crime. I just said that, I made transformative use of a work.
It's fine. It's fine. And remember, all we get is a takedown notice, and we take it down. If ever we get a takedown notice, we will take it down. This is not rocket science. All right.
So that's your show. So let me talk about my show for a second.
Yeah.
And Jeremiah has to fill out extra paperwork because of all of our copyright infringement. My other show, Coding with the Dead, the very first episode got a copyright strike on it.
You did for real?
Oh yeah. I
How
didn't
did
tell
you
you
get
about
it?
this.
I've never had one in my whole life. So
So because the concert that I was playing, a recording of it has been released as like a commercial product. I was using a different recording as far as I can tell. Later, Alex. I was using a different recording of the concert as far as I could tell, but the bots caught me, and they did a copyright strike. So
wow.
the clip, I'm speaking during the clip, so that doesn't have a strike. And more than 2 weeks have elapsed, so the muted audio version of the show is gone from Twitch, and I haven't uploaded all the stuff to YouTube yet because
This is Twitch's algorithm or YouTube's algorithm?
Twitches. So
Twitch's
I'm a
algorithm.
little bit scared about uploading it to YouTube because I'm worried that there will be another copyright strike, and I'm irritated because, as far as I can tell, like I appealed it and I was like, look, this is a recording of a concert and a different recording of that concert has been released commercially, but that doesn't mean that the same the event isn't copywritten. So yeah, so I appealed it, and we'll see what happens. But and then if I get a strike on when I upload it to YouTube, then it's going to be the same thing. I'll appeal that too, because as far as I can tell. But on the other hand, one good thing here. Let me switch to my computer so y'all can see this. So let me open up a browser here. So the place I get the concerts from is archive.org. So they have a live music archive, but they actually have it even further narrowed down to Grateful Dead. And if I do, is that right? Yeah, this is downloadable. So if you do, if you look, like, some of the collection is stream only. These soundboard shows that are soundboard recordings, and if you look at them, so if you go to like 1977, and then so you see, this is the show I did, was this 1977 May 8th show. It's a very well known show, and you can see all of these different versions are all available. And it's the same show, but has been uploaded many different times to archive.org, and they're different files. Like, you can tell from looking at the sound. At the waveform, that they're different files. But some of these are set to stream only, and this concert was eventually released by the Dead as a commercial release. So anyway, so these are the sorts of things that I am keeping track of and am trying to play by the rules by, but ever since that copyright strike, like I only pull stuff from this. This is the downloadable. These are all audience recordings. So I make sure that I get the audience recordings, which are not for commercial use. So there are almost 9,000 concerts uploaded, which means that I can do about 9,000 Coding with the Dead episodes before I run out of Grateful Dead concerts to play. I'm pretty sure I'll be dead by then, myself. Gratefully dead. Yeah. All right. What's up with our energy today?
Good. Let's get to work.
Yeah.
Just making sure that you made your case in front of the judge in all its details. You don't even have to repeat it. We just send them this video when you go to copyright jail.
As long as there's not a copyright strike on this video.
Good point. I'll protect us. I'm way more piratey than you are. I can't believe that that you're the one to get in trouble first.
All right.
Treat.
What are we doing today?
We're still working on our Ember maybe D3.
I mean, I did promise on Twitter that we may actually do D3 today, but I mean, I think I will. If we
You said maybe, but I think we will, because we are. The problem we're still working on is now that we left off exactly where we going to start modulating, where the gradient begins based on the age as we calculated at that particular moment. So some wedges will begin dark, some wedges will begin lighter, depending on like what age in 18, 14 does that person have that we know.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, so let's just give this a second to catch up.
Yeah. I saw you yawning. You know that they say that yawning is contagious, that if you see another human being yawn, that you want to yawn too. I never believed that.
Do you want to yawn?
No, but I've seen it happen. I've seen somebody yawn and then somebody else like goes like, why? I think it's less to do with some kind of evolutionary thing and more to do with like, oh, that person got away with it. Let me do it. I can get away with it too.
I think it's just capitalism.
Probably. All right, so we're going to start some wedges with a light. Well, in this case, actually, our wedges start light and end dark. So we're going to start some wedges with the light green.
No, these wedges. Sorry. Let me just interject for a second. These wedges are all pointing in the right direction. So the issue last week was. Oh, this is the old project. So in the issue we were having was that the gradient wasn't rotating. So it was always going from green at the bottom to purple at the top, or the other way around. And the solution was initially the arc was in D3. We were giving the arc that's described here, this arc. Let me see. Like this command. Get arc was using a start angle and an end angle that changed with every wedge. Whereas now, every wedge has the same two angles here, and the whole group that includes, for now, just the wedge, but will include other stuff later, that all gets rotated together using a rotation angle that's calculated elsewhere in the component. And that's how we get, despite the fact that all of the wedges, when they're created, they have a starting angle of 0, which is 12 o'clock. But then they have this transformation applied after the fact to rotate them. So that's actually a kind of a sort of idiomatic D3 in a way, which is that you don't really move things by changing X and Y coordinates. You move things with the transform attribute in CSS. The end.
That's where we were. And
That's
today, what we need to do is just shift where the gradient begins, just so that I can begin to communicate age.
Correct. So first things first, let's add in everybody to the data set, into our fake data set. And now we get this. So what this represents is all 200 plus fake people that we invented based on the actual data. But again, you can see that every one of these teeny wedges, I can zoom in a little bit. There we go. I mean, this looks so cool, I think, but is not semantically very useful. So every single one of these wedges starts at the green and ends at purple, no matter how long it is. And like Alex said, this doesn't indicate actual age, because what we want it to be is we want the green to mean like 0 years old and the purple to mean 70 years old or something along those lines. So what we need to do is we have to, every single one of these wedges has its own individual gradient. They're all the same, but currently it's not the same one repeated. Let me rephrase that. It's not the same gradient is being referred to by every wedge. Every wedge has its own unique gradient. It just happens to be the case that all of those gradients are currently the same. Back to you, Alex.
That's it. So we just need to figure out how to, within the component, how to assign every wedge a different value, which right now we're assigning a more or less the same set of values. So now we need to go into those variables and make it into a calculation rather than a value.
Yeah. So as you can see, we have two methods here. We have a beginning stop and an ending stop. And if we go to the template, we see that this is the initial gradient that provides this white disk in the middle. But then we have here what you were talking about here is a linear gradient that's calculated for each
for every right now.
For every person. So it just does this over and over again, right?
Right.
And so for right now, we have that the style concats the beginning stop with stop opacity. So, so it calls up this and says, hey, give me some information. Right?
So what we want to do right now is, instead of having these percentage values fixed at x1, y1, x2, and y2, what we want to do is insert a variable there. a variable that we will calculate above. If I'm understanding how one writes the order of these things in Ember.
Yes. Yeah, we'll flesh out this function here. So down here, let's make a couple little quick changes here. So let me add some returns.
Notice that today I'm not even waiting for him to ask me questions. I'm actually predicting the questions he's going to ask me, and I'm already answering them before he even asks them. This is like meta Plato. This is like, not only do I remember that I knew something, I also remember that Plato asked me.
So I think that we do this way. So because we're referring to these functions as functions from inside the template, we have to decorate them as actions.
Okay.
Crash.
Crashola, yay!
No crash. No colors. Why do we get no colors?
No clue. But it looks kind of awesome because it creates this visual effect.
This moire you get here.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
So if we go and we look at the linear gradients, we see how every wedge has its own gradient. So if we just pick a random gradient, we see, okay, so it is actually
putting the whole function there.
Yeah.
Great. Surely that has a very straightforward answer. We needed to process it. So why is it why is it being passed as text? You need a starting parentheses. Oh, well, close that one. Yeah, that works.
You didn't turn off your notifications.
I did, and then for one channel, but not for the other. Can't you turn the notifications for the whole thing? Night mode. No, that doesn't do that. Settings. Notifications. Play sound. Disable. Got it. Sweet. You want to talk about, you want to narrate what you're doing?
What's that?
You want to narrate what you're doing?
Yeah, so I'm getting this this weird problem here where it's not the function thingy isn't working right. So let me, in the interest of not making this go on forever,
But narrate what you're thinking, what you're trying to solve, how you're trying to solve it, because I don't know where you're going with this.
right. So from my understanding, so we have this thing here, style equals, and it's expecting some kind of text here, right? So
Right.
my goal is for this beginning stop person to pass the person variable to this function called beginning stop and to return text, but it's not doing that. So if
Right.
let's close this, and I can't quite tell here. So you know, it's just making little linting noises. So if I reload here, I get this not super useful to me error. And this is an error that I actually just have to look up, because typically I can figure out what it is, what the error is ahead of time, or I can figure out what the problem is looking at something.
Yeah, but I think we're still in the same problem, which is that it's not really passing text as you want it.
Yeah, so if I take away the action and
That's
just
what I
make
was going to
this
recommend. Don't
a
decorate it.
regular.
Yeah. Yeah, really unhappy. Ooh.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I figured. You can't pass a parameter to a getter.
Okay. Let's see
So
that console.
yeah, so this is the same problem.
Even without the decorator. But we would need the decorator anyways, because if you can't pass a value, how are you going to get the two to communicate?
What did I break?
Yeah, that's what I was.
Maybe there's something wrong in the template. Okay.
You're missing parentheses there.
That's all right. You mean quotes.
Quotes, yeah.
That's okay. All right. So we're back to this working correctly. We basically went all the way back to fixing up what we were doing. So, okay. So, styles must be marked as HTML safe. So, we'll worry about that later. So, let's convert these to actions. So, step one. So, let's only work on beginning stop. So, let's close this.
Just pass it like a hard value, but pass it as an action. Don't even take
Actions
a.
have to be functions.
Oh, it has to be fun.
Yeah.
Well, make the function like print something. Like
Well, I mean, that's what it is. It's just here's a string.
Mhm.
So beginning stop.
Did not break it.
No, did break.
It did break.
Well.
Oh, because it's not purple.
Yeah, one of these is messing up. So the beginning one is breaking. So, but it's not giving an error. So let's try doing. All right.
Getting better.
Okay, so now I understand kind of what the problem is.
Yeah.
So this doesn't work like the action doesn't. I mean, I understand now conceptually what I'm doing wrong. So the action doesn't work like the getter, where it's just like where you have like this function that because the return value is a string, like it's quote unquote
Just
seen
makes it
as a
available for
string.
you to use.
Yeah. So what we have to do is instead we use the action to so instead
Why don't you use the action inside a get?
Well, we're getting to that. That's
Okay.
yeah. So let's just put this beginning stop here and this ending stop. So now what we do is up here, we don't make this beginning stop a function.
You make it a variable.
We just make it a straight up string.
Right.
And then ending stop.
No, missing a P.
Okay. All right. So now it's at least filling something in for both of those lines. I don't have to check. I know it's doing it because I know that we're doing this correctly now. So I'll delete these, delete ending stop here. And then what we need to do, I don't know if I've talked to you about this yet, is we do still need action, but we also need to import tracked. Does that sound familiar to you?
Nope.
So what this does is it's another decorator, and if we add it here to these two, it means that whenever they change, oh shit, I can't do it this way. I can't swear on the stream.
Can't say bad words either, in case grandma's watching.
So what track does is it is whenever a variable changes, it changes it everywhere in the DOM. But that means that every single time it changes, it will change the gradient for all of them. So it'll just keep changing it. So that's not the... All right, how did I do this last time? Why am I having so much difficulty like figuring this out?
Your mind was nimbler when you were younger?
I mean, where's the lie?
You did it more with D3. That's what you did. You're trying to do it with Ember now. You're big man now. Trying to do it with Ember.
But I know what the solution is.
Okay, yeah. Famous last words. I heard you say them several times today.
All along, but this time I'll do it without swearing.
Yeah. Do you think you can do it within 5 minutes? Because we have a break. You might as well leave a cliffhanger. You won't believe what happens after the break.
The solution is to make components for everything. Oops.
So to make a different component for the gradient?
You'll see. You'll see, and you'll appreciate the elegance.
Hypermodularization. Got it. Big fan. I can never find anything. Nobody will be able to find anything in this app.
I mean, everything's where it belongs. Now you see why the benefit of componentizing.
All right, let's make this component. I want to see.
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to be done by the time we break.
Okay, this is good enough. I know where you're going now. I know where you're going with this. So just by having it at the higher level of component level, then you don't need actions anymore. You can just
No,
bring it in.
I will need them, but what I want to show is that, um, so the problem we were having here before I made this a component was that like I couldn't pass the person variable to a function to get some kind of random text to paste in here, right?
Right.
Because if it changed, when it would change for everybody, right? But now, because it's a component, it will only be calculating that
For each person.
within the context of that component, not within the context of the visualization as a whole. So inside the component, beginning stop and ending stop exist only within that context. They aren't a variable that is just repeated several times throughout a larger context. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it will be, because I can use. So you said I won't have to use an action, and that's exactly correct. I'm looking like here. That's exactly correct. I won't need to use an action. I can use a getter, because with the get,
Because for every time it loops, it already gives you the person in that component. You don't need to pass it. It is already this.
uh, very close. So I can get this, and I can do it this way, like that, and then
Mhm.
so that this I have access to this arg's person, and
Yeah.
that has that person's birth year and year of departure.
Yeah. That's
So
what I meant.
this, yeah,
This arcs person
correct,
syntax
correct,
that
correct.
we've been using everywhere.
So I don't have to pass that in as a parameter here or an
Right.
argument here,
So you can keep your getter.
because it already exists attached to the this of the instance of the component.
Right.
So that's why you componentize all the things.
That sounds Ember idiomatic. I see. I think you earned like your next badge on Emberland after solving this problem. Ooh, COVID.
Dude, don't joke. I mean, joke. I don't care. You know, if I get COVID, if COVID kills me,
Oh my. Now almost you're dead.
then I mean, it's
I
my
will
time.
cry a lot at your funeral. I will be one
I
of the ones that cry the most.
I won't even have a funeral. I should get some estate planning put together, though. You know, who's gonna get my synthesizer is a big question.
Jeremiah for sure. He's the musician.
I don't know that he'll want it, but we'll see. All right, let's
Can
take
I
a
get your
break.
stationary bike though? I need to
Yeah,
get it shape.
but well, I'll be dead, so yeah. That works out.
Yeah,
All right, so
you have
we'll
a
be
very
back in
nice
10 minutes.
stationary.
Our dear friends. See ya.
All right.
And I'm back. I am going to be flying solo for a little bit. Alex will be a little bit delayed in his return from the break, so he sends you his apologies. And in the meantime, I will get back to cranking away at this componentize all the things solution that he and I came up with for our gradient problem. So if we go back to my computer, which is here, we can see that the wedges are all getting colored in black. And if I do stop color, I think this is the appropriate way to write this sort of thing. This should change all of the it changes all of the wedges so that they go from blue to red. So they're going in the wrong direction, but that's okay. Now, what we want to do is we don't want them to start and stop on the same color. We want the colors to actually mean something with regard to the ages of the people that were being described here or represented. And so the way we have to do that is we have to think of where their ages are on this continuum. So let me rename these change these around. Okay. What did I do wrong? All right, let's just stick to this. So the beginning stop is red, as it says up here. So the quote unquote beginning of the gradient is up here, and the end of the gradient is down here. I think I can reverse that. Maybe through here. Brilliant. Okay, so I've reversed the gradient so it begins at red and ends at blue. So that's beginning stop is red, like it says here, and end stop is blue, like it says here. So we can close this out. And then, as I mentioned to Alex, I have access to this thing here called this args person. So I can get their birth year, for example. So now, if the birth year is let's start with the interpolations here. And we'll get back to that later. Oh, actually, let me do that now. Alex is back.
Hi,
Hooray.
everybody.
Welcome back. Okay, so what we have here is we have a pretty simple math problem. So we have the oldest person at Rose Hall in terms of age. So we need to know what the span is of potential ages. So we know that the domain of ages is 0 to something like 80, right? So we don't have to get specific quite right away, but we know that the range, so domain is for your data and range is for your results. The range has to be between 0 and 1. So the way you do this is with a scale linear in D3. So if we go to we see that there's that we defined a color scale, and we'll come back to that. But let's redefine it up here. So so the domain is 0 to 18, and the range is 0 to 1, right? So now what we want here, so this is the tiny bit of math. So if the person's birth year, so we get the birth year. Now logically, there are two cases. If the birth year is greater than 1817, then let's create a variable up here. Let okay. So if the person's birth year is before 1817, so under most circumstances, we say that the gradient should begin at 0, which means at the person's birth. So the zeroness is the common response for all of the people who are who make up this level here. Everyone else, it shouldn't start with the 0 value on the scale. It shouldn't start with the most Oh. Okay. It shouldn't start with the most purple line. But so if the birth year is less than 1817,
Sure.
the number has to be greater than 0, but we don't know what. So what we need to do is we need to figure out the age at 1817.
Yeah, but that's in the data. We don't.
Is equal to 1817 minus the birth year.
Yeah.
And then we can do beginning stop equals this color scale age at 1817. think that's right. Do you think it worked?
It kind of did, but hold on, I can't tell because everything. I mean, I prefer
Let
the
me
green and
make
purple.
the other color red. So
Okay.
here it definitely worked, but this is going from black to red, so it didn't work.
Hmm.
So the if is correct. So if the birth year is before 1817, age at 1817 is 1817 minus the birth year.
Mhm.
Okay, so that's going to be a number between zero. Oh,
And what we still don't account for what if it is not?
that was our problem.
Yeah.
Nope, that wasn't our problem.
No, we still not accounting for what if it's not.
What do you mean? What if it's not?
What if it's not before 1817? We don't have an else there.
Oh, yeah, it's zero.
Oh, is that our else? Oh, yeah,
No,
you
it's not
already.
an else. It's just set, and then under certain conditions we change it.
Yeah, yeah. So you saw it. That's why you define the variable. Hmm. Hmm.
I hate doing this, but
Why would you hate trying to figure out
well,
what's
because
going
this
on?
is just going to be a bunch of chaos getting flooded to the.
Oh, only like 170 entries. No.
Oh, well, I mean, I know it wasn't going to be fixed. Oh, okay. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I
So,
want a different scale though, because this one is weird.
well, just chill for a sec,
Okay.
please. So what we see here is that we see the scale of the rainbow going from light green to purple over the course of these arrival years, because this is people are being younger and younger and younger at 1817, and we know
Right.
that deep purple, the deepest purple, is equal to zero. Now, as Alex pointed out, like it stops being meaningful because we don't have the edge years yet. So this is the beginning stop. So this works correctly now. And
I
then
like how
here,
somehow we, even though it's arbitrarily 2 hours, we've somehow managed to like every episode has like a particular thing that we solve for that episode. You have like I like maybe you have a sixth sense for how much digression we need in order to make it 2 hours. Because some episodes are like 1 hour of digression.
Exit year. No, we just do this way.
Let me see. Nope. Nope. Something else is going on here. Now these are not gradients. Now every wedge is now not a gradient.
They actually are?
Really? My eyes are not that good, I guess. I think the whole thing is a gradient, the aggregate, but okay.
The difference is very
Slight
small.
variation.
What's that?
Tiny.
So so there's a couple things here. One is we're making certain assumptions.
Right.
So so you see how this is it's not quite so visible here, but let's switch it to interpolate warm and you'll see the problem. So how would you describe this gradient?
From dark to light.
That's it?
Blue to purple to green.
Purple to blue
to yellowish
to
green.
How about this one?
Purple to yellowish green.
But you notice how it's changing a lot of colors in here? It's
yeah,
like
that one has
going through the rainbow.
Yeah.
Like it's purple to like magenta to red to orange to yellow to green.
That one's taking a longer road, yeah.
Well, it's doing a thing, right? But it's distinct that this isn't from one color to another color. Now, this is why I changed it to this. So if we use this gradient, you see that these are actually like it's just orange to orange, red to red, purple to purple, etc., etc. Right? So because we aren't, so there may be a couple reasons for that. One
that
is
the people at the beginning are really old, even though it's only a period of 20 years, so they might be from 50 to 70, and it's still going to land at that color.
well, so
And then the
that's
people at
one
the,
thing.
at the end are going to be very young, and therefore they're going to be very purple.
Correct. But you see, even here, like this doesn't seem to stretch the gamut of all of the colors, because it just picks one color here and one color here and blends those two colors. We actually need it to step through a bunch of colors, because this is stepping through a bunch of colors. It's not just a straight line of mixing. It's not just mixing two colors. The gradient is more complicated than that.
Right.
So the way we do that is
the way we do that is,
give me a sec.
don't let me forget, I have a 5 o'clock right after this, because I never have anything on Fridays at 5 o'clock. But in case I forget,
Okay.
let me know.
So what we need, so it's probably useful to go back. So what you actually need here is you need more than just these two offsets.
I thought the D3 was supposed to do that for you.
Oh no. I mean, it does, but only by doing this. This is SVG's problem. This isn't D3's problem. So we actually need.
I actually don't think it's going to change much, because I'm telling you, say for example, you had a scale from 1 to 80 years old.
It's going to change, because this is what we had to do last time.
We had if you have only a span of 20 years that you're covering, it's only going to capture what doesn't seem. It's not going to go back to the warm scale. Let me tell you. I ask you to divide that by 8 equal pieces, and you will find that within those 8 equal pieces, there's never that traveling through 3 colors. There's only going to be, go back to the thing in the D3 catalog of the.
Here, let me show you by. I mean, we're gonna have to do this, but I'll, like maybe we'll run out of time today, and we do that next week.
That's fine, but I'm pretty sure that.
But here, like, give me a sec here. So, what is it? 18 years. 18 to 33. Sure. So, and then let me go back and refilter the data. Do you see the problem?
You don't have that many wedges anymore?
No, that's intentional.
It's doing, yes, it's actually spreading.
So like look at this wedge.
Yeah, because
here.
I didn't say put the 18 as a range. The range should be 1 to, yeah, that's what we're doing this wrong completely, because right now this person is like time traveling, the first one, and living from 0 years old to 80 years old in a span of 20 years.
No, they're living to 18 years old. But no, but Alex, the what I'm trying to point here is that so what's 33 minus 17?
Yeah,
15. 15.
18, yeah.
So this person that's 15 years old starts at 0, starts at purple, and ends at green, just
Right.
like we want this to look. but they skip over magenta, they skip over red, they skip over orange, and they skip over yellow because
Yeah,
it's
but what
actually
I'm
just going
trying
from
to
purple to
tell you, right?
tr-
What I'm trying to tell you, but I'm not succeeding yet. I'm gonna need you to go back to the other tab so that I can explain myself. Now let's look. We're gonna work with the D3 interpolate warm one. Okay. Purple is 0 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
Light green is 80 years of age. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're purple, you're a baby. If you're light green, you're really old. Oh, not really old. That's not 80 years old these days. It's not. But back in those days, 80 years old, pretty old. So if you're red, you're 40. If I'm looking at this correct. I want you to divide that into 8 equal parts in your mind. So from 1 year old, from 0 year old to 10, from 10 to 20 teenage years, from 20 to 30, et cetera, all the way down to 80. What I want you to see.
We can't look at that, Alex, because actually the range doesn't matter. But like you said, let's use what you said, that if you're
Because
red,
I'm going to tell you how it would be, how we would want to communicate age.
you're like, I know I'm right on this, and
No.
and here, let me let me explain it to you. So
We're
you
having
said it,
technical difficulties.
you said it perfectly when you said think of red as 40. Okay, so
Yeah.
instead, let's count between 0 and 15, in which case red is 7.5, right?
All right.
So we should be able to tell on this wedge when this person was 7.5 by looking when it's red,
Right.
but it's never red.
Right. Because that, yes. But yes, we need to do two things. One, there has to be shifting here because in this graph, this person just went from 0 to 15 in a span of like, unless you say that the size of the full wedge is 15 here. Is that
It
what we're
is.
saying?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And then yeah, then it's skipping a color.
Yeah. Well, it's skipping many colors, but
Many colors, yes.
right.
In that case, in that sense, I agree with you. But there are two things that need to happen. Besides, one of them is not skipping colors, and
Yes.
the other one
That's
is
the one I care
also
about, is the not skipping colors, cuz the
okay.
other
Well,
one,
focus on that first.
yeah,
Focus on
the
that.
other one is already solved. But or was solved, but now we have to fix the skipping colors problem.
Okay, go ahead.
So the way you fix the
But
skipping
I am
color,
saying in the end, it's still like now. This is the part where I'm right. In the end, it's still gonna look as if there wasn't that much variation in the wedges.
yes, but it will be starker than it is now.
Yes, there will be some people that you will see are like solidly red. There will be some people who are oranges, and you kind of will tell more or less what age group, like if they're boomers or like Gen Xers or Zs, or the equivalents thereof back in those days.
Okay. So the way to do this,
Narrate what you're doing.
what's that? So
Narrate.
I'm so you see that this is 0, this is for 20%, this is for 40%, this is
Right.
for 0, like et cetera, et cetera. So we need a bunch of stops, and we need to but they're all going to have their own math involved, because they're all going to have their own offset, 0, 10, 20, et cetera, and they're all going to have a different color. Because what it is, so if you look at Didn't I find some awesome thing on the website?
Vaguely familiar. Vaguely familiar. Rings some kind of bell. Yeah, this is starting to look.
So you see, like, there are multiple numbers of steps, right?
Right.
So, we can change the fourth step here to something like yellow. And then if I don't remember exactly how this works, but this is not the site we were using last time. Oh, this color is called moderate apple green. Um,
I can see it.
right. So, okay, enough chit chat, and let's motor through this. So,
Let's do 8 steps, eight decades.
no, well, we won't choose that here. We choose that in the template, or sorry, in the components logic. So what we have here is we're making reference to something called stops, and then each stop has a param or a property called offset and a property called style.
Oh, so you're gonna create the stops iteratively instead of manually?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So now, okay. So we know that. So we're going to return some array of things that have an offset and a style. So I'm just writing this here so that I can close this. Okay. So now we get a stop.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing we have to do is create our number of offsets. What did you want for the offsets?
80, that's it. Sorry, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70.
Now, this would be easier to do with D3, but whatever.
I don't think anybody lived through to 100 in this data, if I'm not mistaken.
No. Sorry. The offsets are percentages, correct. So now what we do is
If we run out of time, like 5 minutes before we know that we're not going to finish this, you should leave some really good comments here, so that because this is leaving off until next week in medias res. We won't remember what this thinking was about.
I mean, I will.
I mean, you will? Okay. You do have a good memory.
I may even get this done by the end of the show.
It looks like you're making some good progress.
Okay, so I created an array of all of our offsets, and then I'm just returning something that gives the offset percentage and just has red. So if this doesn't crash, it crashed. Okay, so why did it crash? Okay, syntax error, no problem.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, and this semicolon is going to crash.
And you might, are those straight quotation marks? Because one of them looks crooked.
No, they're ticks. They're supposed to be ticks. All right, new error. Error unreachable. Okay. So, this closes this, this closes this, this closes this, this closes this. I mean, it's not going to be any of this. All right. Spoke too soon. Oh. Oh. No. No, this is correct. Okay, so close. There we go. So just to show that it is drawing all 10 of our stops. Okay. It's just making them all red.
Right.
So now what we do, so we can close this, and then now we have to get interesting. So uh,
451. I wonder if I play the theme to Jeopardy, if that will actually trigger a copyright violation.
Probably.
I can't even hum it, can I? I'm thinking it though, copyright people.
I think you can actually hum it.
Can we give a takedown notice to my mind?
Oh man.
You think this is it?
No, I just came up with a much cleverer way to do this.
You can't do it. We have to redo the whole thing.
No. Hold on. Okay, so we have their age in 18. Okay, so we have these two let's call this age at start. So we have these two variables, age at start and age at
At end. At end.
end. Yes. So now let's create
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
no, I want to do it in the opposite. Okay. So now we have the stop scale here. So now the stop color is equal to interpolate warm color scale
Age at exit.
no, not age at exit.
Stop scale.
We did it, man.
Oh man.
3 minutes to go. So now you see was it worth it to put in all those extra stops? See, now you can see it goes from purple through red, through orange, through yellow to
Right.
green.
Now we need to do the second part, which is nobody can live that fast.
Quote unquote, yes. So that should be merely, oops, so that'll be editing this because we have to change the domain. So for now, so This we're going to have to change. What we should be doing is passing in the scale, so that I'll leave a comment for.
Okay, yeah. All right, let me see how it came out though with 80.
Well, hold on. Oh, with 80, it'll all be purples.
Yeah.
As you said, no one lives that fast. Ashley is excited for us.
Hi, Ashley. I had a meeting with Ashley and a bunch of other people interested in Twitch Mania and library and broadcasting mania. We're gonna have it's gonna be a new thing, like librarians broadcasting from all the libraries.
So this is it. Now, the reason this doesn't look super exciting is because of the fact that, I mean, this looks very pretty, but it still just looks like a sort of like gradient, like gradient on a gradient. And that's because the data is uniform.
Right.
So the actual data, the color wheel will be more distinct.
All right. We have our marching orders for next week. I will see you guys then. Going off to, I remembered I have another thing right now.
You have a meeting in a minute, yes.
Yes. I will see you guys next week.
See you all next week.